What's happening? So today I want to do a how-to video on how to install Novik Stone SK siding. So this comes in these big sheets and then it goes on the wall like this. Now the interesting thing about it is how does it all click together and how do you make it look nice? And if you don't want it this tall, what do you do when you transition to your next piece? So today we're going to go through how this stuff clicks together when you want to cut it and not end on a nailing flange like this, but you're going to terminate it and you're going to transition to your other siding. You know, how do you do that? So the first thing that we want to do is you want to get a line. And you'll see over here that we've got two lines on the wall. Our first red line here is the top of our siding piece. What we're looking for is, we're looking for you to hit the subscribe button below. Gotcha. And also hit that like button because I know you're gonna like this video because you need to know how to do this if this is the type of siding you're installing. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you know when we're always doing how-to videos on this type of stuff. So you might as well just hit it and then you'll know when they're coming out. So, all right, I got that out of the way. So back to this. What we're looking for is we're looking for this height so we can figure out how to get everything nice and straight. So the first line we're gonna make is that 20-inch mark of where the top of this piece is going to go. And then from there, we're measuring on the back side here, and we're seeing these hooks, right? So these are what are going to cleat into this bottom rail. Now this comes in a box like this. Its official name, in case you were curious, is called Polymer Universal Starter Strip. And they have one box gets you like, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these suckers. And they come in these little strips. And then what's cool about them is they've got a tab like this on this end. Oh. And then on this end, it's like a puzzle. So they all click together. And so that's nice. So then you could click them all together and then start setting this. But two things. One, you want to set it to the wall where this is the wall side and this is the outside, because then this piece clicks into there and then it'll slide, but also keeps it away from the wall a little bit. And obviously if you did it the other way, you wouldn't be able to get this to click in here. So how do you set this? Where do you set this height? So what we'll do is we typically will not concern ourselves with the starter strip because of how little material this is up the wall. We really want to make sure we get this right, and then wherever this height is, that's how we determine where that is. So what we'll do is we'll then pull our number, and what we come to find out is we got about 18 3/4, a little heavy, so 18 7/8 almost. Then we'll come over here and we'll measure that. We'll measure down, and we're looking to get at that 18 1/4 to 18 7/8 right at the top of this, because then it's going to sit down real nice in there. Because you still want to be able to see that red line, because sometimes these pieces, even though they're all formed in a factory, sometimes they can be a little goofy. So in order to get that nice and straight, you want to still be able to see that red line. So we'll put this a little higher than ground zero here so that we can float this in. And then our piece will just sit right like that. And then you'll still be able to see that line, and you kind of move it. And then once you're happy with your consistency, you'll throw some siding nails every other hole, and that'll lock that in place. But let's say you're at the end, and now we got to finish this, right? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click this in. Clicks in the same way that it does on our starter strip, right to the top. Now, when we get to this brick mold on the side here, we're going to end up caulking this joint because we don't want to have like a J-channel. We want it to look like a real stone. So we're just gonna put some quad caulk in here, and that'll do the trick. It'll clean up this line, it'll keep the bugs out from going inside. But remember, the siding is not supposed to repel the water. If water gets behind here or moisture, it's the job of your house wrap to make sure that that water does not go any further. So although we want to make all these joints really tight, it's not necessarily watertight, it's more bug tight, but you want to keep most of the moisture out of there, but it's not a watertight situation. So don't get bent out of shape that we're caulking this, because caulk will do just fine to make it clean, nice, trimmed finish. But now, this is going to be our transition point, and I'm going to show you how we're going to hide that cut end with this. But first, we need to cut this. So I'm going to slide this piece all the way in here, and then I'm going to get a mark right on the wall about a 1/4 inch down from this board. And then we're going to take it over to our bridge saw that we made, and we'll put a video for how to make the saw to cut this stuff in the description below. So let's cut this. So in another video, I made this little bridge saw mabobber, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to cut this piece. So what I'm going to do is I slid my piece in, and I'm lining my mark up with the edge of here. And then I take my circular saw, I'm going to hold this piece nice and tight, and then I'm going to take this saw and I'm going to push it through, and we're going to cut this. You could also use a grinder or something for this, but I don't recommend it because the grinder is going to make a bunch of frayed sections of this. What I like about this, using a bridge saw like this, is see, even the slightest little variation or inconsistency got picked up on there, and that's the bottom of that stone. So if you got a little tab like that, you can cut it off or leave it. In our case, we're going to trim it. This stuff cuts pretty easy with a knife, but to get that straight line with all these different variations in the texture, the easiest thing to do is to make one of these nice little saws, or bridges for your saw. All right, so let's install this. So we're going to slide that piece down in there like that, and then that is going to go right like that. So now what do? We've got no flange to put our nails to. So manufacturer says that it's okay that in the flat sections of this material you can send a nail home. So that's what I'm going to do. This is called a siding nail. It's pretty cool. It's got these ridges on here, so it's really going to bite. And then it's got a smooth section up here. Now it's important when you're sending these home, you don't want to send it all the way home. You want to leave a little bit of a gap so that this vinyl can relax and kind of flex. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up right where my joint is. And then I'm going to, and then so I don't mar all the material, I'm going to just take a flat blade screwdriver. I'm going to line it right up on that edge. Send it home like that. And now that piece is nice and tight on the wall. But how do we dress this up? How do we make this look good? I need to cut a piece to show you how to do that. This is an LP siding board. It comes in these big sheets. These are actually our soffit panels, so this is what we used on the soffit. I'm going to cut a small piece of this just so you get an idea of how to trim this out. So we're going to make a trim that's 3.5. We're going to cut longer pieces, but just to show you how this works, I just thought I'd cut a little piece. So I'm just going to shoot this on the wall so you get an idea of what we're doing here. But basically what that's going to do is this will line up just like that. And then you have a nice clean look. On the top of here, you're going to want to make sure you paint this all really good. This is a marine grade plywood, so it's waterproof. And also then on top of here, you're going to put a drip cap. It's going to be a piece of metal that comes over and right down the side, and that way no water can get into here. Well, listen, I gotta finish this up, so I appreciate you watching this. If you have any questions about how to solve this siding or any other kind of siding, or want to see a video on something else, be sure to leave those comments below, ask those questions. We'll be sure to answer them. And if you haven't subscribed by now, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit the subscribe button and like the video, because if you don't, I'm not gonna let you watch anymore of any others. I'm serious, like the video. Just do it. All right, I'll see you next time.